All right. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing amazing. Welcome to another edition of Sunday Market Outlook. Hope you guys have had an amazing weekend so far. I see we got Benji in the chat, Bill, Susie. What's up? What's up? What's up? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Man, let's flood it up. Let's flood it up. You guys should be able to hear me, should be able to see me. So we're gonna keep this thing rolling. All right, let's go, man. Well, without further ado, we're gonna get straight into some chart work here. We got Erica also tapping in from Germany. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And yeah, guys, let's definitely promote this live to everybody, whether they're in Akashx or thinking about getting started in Akashx. I like to do these weekly market outlooks via YouTube just to give everybody a little bit of a taste of what we do within our private mentorship at Akashx. But yeah, man, last week was really good. July in general has been a really good month as far as trade alerts and just the opportunities that we've been able to find with trading NAS 100 with my signature strategy called Liberty. So you guys probably already know as we see the Liberty emojis hitting the chat. But for those that don't know, definitely want to tap in. Monkey Man, what's up? Peter, Lisa, Aaron, what's good? Appreciate you guys for tapping in. All right, so as far as news goes, guys, for this week, um, we got high impact on Thursday for PMI, and really the rest is not really so high impact. Obviously, we're still gonna see volatility throughout the week in general. But Thursday, with unemployment claims and PMI, this is the only real like high impact stuff that we gotta pay attention to. So maybe from today, tomorrow, we won't see anything outside the norm as far as like price spiking or anything too different, unless obviously we get like some random news. But as far as planned financial news, everything is pretty crystal until Thursday. So that's that. So as far as where we're at with NAS now, you guys will see that I have this marked up here, and this was the last trade alert that I sent out on Friday through Akashx. And really, we ended the day at around a little bit over a 2R at its peak here. We had hit about 2.2R, and then price has made its little pullbacks. My analysis still remains the same in general as far as where we can expect price to go. I usually target, 3 to 1s, 4 to 1 risk to reward opportunities as much as possible. Um, so, this is a trade that we should still expect to really continue further down, if you ask me. And usually I cover the setups on the actual live sessions via Akashx. Really, this trade came down to just looking at the market manipulation that took place at 9:30. When the stock market opens, we saw a liquidity grab of this high that came in a little bit earlier around London session time. So we took London highs, ended up closing back within our range. And that was really why I decided to call out that trade. So very textbook, beautiful entry, beautiful trade. For those that didn't see it, you want to make sure you're tapped into the Akashix community chat. Okay. So, we have all of the different chats here for all the different educators within the private mentorship program. Um, but yeah, this was a trade that we called out here on Friday at around 9:45. So that first 15-minute candle after 9:30 where we had that manipulation of the highs, ended up calling the shorts at around 23,140. The prices that you'll see here, 23,117, that's based off of Trade Locker and TradeX prices. I always usually call out the alerts based off of that just because I know the community leans heavily into Trade Locker and TradeX. So yeah, pretty much that's the signal. Ended up hitting TP3 before market close. We got some of the testimonials from the squad here. So yeah, man, solid trade. And we look to continue playing off of that heading into the week. So if you guys made some money, you guys can let me know in the YouTube. All right, if you guys made some money off that trade as well. Do we have a recording of yesterday's Zoom with Joel, or was it private? I mean, that was a private call for Latin America. There was a couple teams in there that had set that up originally with Joel, and then he asked me to tag along there. And so, yeah, it's about a little bit over 200 something people on there. So yeah, it wasn't really recorded. I mean, to be quite honest with you, it was really just a call where we brought a little bit more awareness to our strategies and just kind of like using us as a tangent together for that community to just like lean on for generating results and whatnot. Um, so I'm not saying it wasn't a valuable call, but it's not like we talked about something on there that you don't get through my live sessions or my calls. We're just kind of bringing awareness to the sessions, and for the people that don't really like know us or whatever, like to start being like, oh, maybe I should probably pay attention to these two guys. So yeah, if there even is a recording, I don't know where it's at, to be quite honest with you. I just tagged along that call. All right, cool. So one area here really important for me that I've talked about for Nas since really a couple days ago was getting back down into that 22,800 area. And the reason why we want to take price to here, so even from our entries up here, this could be a potential swing opportunity all the way down to here. Now, obviously, we're gonna have Sunday kind of open up. God knows what will happen once the market opens up. If we get some type of spike or whatever. So any type of projections that I can give is only based off the current information I have. So obviously things can change, but for the most part, this is a very significant part of the chart for NAS that I do have like almost 100% certainty. And if you ask me about where it's going to eventually go here, is going to be down to 22,800, 22,820, give or take. Basically just this wick right here on the 4-hour time frame. So depending on your broker or whatever price feed you're looking at, it's going to be maybe a little bit different as far as the numbers exactly of what it is. But basically this area of demand right here is where I can expect price to get to. And the reason for that is because this is that last wick where Nas kind of started trying to drop and break these lows. We saw that even though we had that nice little drop there, we didn't quite break the lows at all. They ended up remaining intact here, as you can see. And shortly after that, this is that last manipulation wick to the downside that goes and puts in a new high in the market. And that's very, very important. So you'll always see when people talk about trading trends where you'll have like, price here, pulls up, makes a pullback, expands, makes a pullback, expands, right? So that's like how people draw an uptrend, all right? Now, obviously, looking at a graphic versus actual candlesticks is always a different feel, right? But nonetheless, the principle still applies, right? You had a low, puts in a new high, makes a lower high respecting the previous low, makes a new higher high above the previous high, goes and makes a new lower low, or I'm sorry, a lower high respecting this previous low, and then we went and put in a new higher high. So same type of flow where we expect price to now come back into here, and then we should see a new high, right? So that's the idea. So really, we can have projections, expectations, all those good things. So if we're up in this area of price, I'd much rather look for sell opportunities, which is why we called the ones from here on Friday. And basically anything from Sunday heading into Monday, if we dabble somewhere up in this area where we're currently at, I'd still have a bearish focus to take us down into the lower levels. So that remains the same. Sells up in here. So something I talked about in the sessions is looking at the ranges that we're operating in and how that dictates whether we focus on buying or selling in certain areas. So And I'll always start off with a diagram and then look at charts, right? So if, again, we're in an uptrending market and we make this last high, right? Okay, this is the piece of price action that we currently have, for example. What I'm looking at is all of the extreme lows and highs and all the previous highs and lows. So for example, we have this high, we have this low, and then let's say that price is like here, right? We have this high right here. What I'm looking at is that 1, 2, 3 points of price, right? The previous high, the low, and then the last high. And so if I'm going to be looking at trades, right, I'm going to either be looking at trading up in here or trading down in here. Where I don't want to trade is somewhere in the middle where price can keep going like this or keep going like this. Because when you're in the middle, you start turning into having like 50-50 type of opportunities. And because of the stop losses and all that stuff that you're using, and we don't want to operate in a 50-50 environment. We want to operate where we have, the probabilities are more on our side. Okay, so even if we can get that to 60-40, for me, that's what we want to do with trading. We just want to be more than 50-50, to be honest. Um, so yeah, basically, what I want to say about the range was if we have a Fibonacci tool that we'll pull up, right? And there's different type of Fibonacci that I might use. Obviously, we have like fibs that have to do with like retracements, as far as retracement percentages. So like, we might be looking at a trending market where we want to see price pull back to maybe 50%, 62%, or 78% and then continue, right? Something like that. Um, well, in reality, it would look something like this. You have this low, put a high, then you expect price to retrace somewhere in here, and then you have a continuation. So that's how people use fibs for like continuing to trade a trend, for example. The other fib that I look at is this one that you're seeing to the left, which is basically just measuring um the range that we're looking at in three. All right, so you have like an upper part of the range, which is the top 33%. Then you have the lower part of the range, which is the bottom 33%. And then you have the middle of the range. And that's really like no man's land. And I talked about on the session how we tried taking a trade in no man's land the other day and it ended up being a stop loss. So I'll show you exactly why we talk about this. So really, if we kind of relate this to where we're at right now, we're in the higher part of the range right now. Okay, where we're looking at this. And so that's why I say if we're in the higher part of the range, I want to be looking for sells until we get into the lower part of the range. And then from there, we're either taking profit from our sells or we're looking to get into buy opportunities to take us to the new high, breaking out of the range. So you got to really like not get lost in price, and sometimes people will be like, oh, should we look at that on a 5 minute, a 1 minute, a 1 hour, a 4 hour? It doesn't really matter if I look at this picture. Like right now, I'm looking at it in a 4 hour. I can look at it on a 1 hour. I can look at it on a 30 minute, 15 minute. Like it doesn't really matter because what I'm looking at is the extreme low and the extreme high. What I will say is that once you go to the higher time frames, like a 1 hour or 4 hour, it becomes a lot easier to get a broader perspective on where we're at. So that's why I'll look at this like on a 1 hour or a 4 hour, for example, right? So again, here you can see we have the extreme high and we have the extreme low. What happens is people that look on a smaller time frame, they're going to look at these lows and these lows and these lows and these lows, like all the like this is like the internal highs and lows. I'm looking at the external highs and lows, right? Like the ones that are the extremes, okay? So basically this high and this low, okay? So if we use that same Fibonacci that I was just pulling up from this low all the way to that high, all right, you're gonna see that the upper part of the range will be all this area. The bottom will be this area. And this will be the middle where we kind of don't want to be entering any trades. Well, once we're in the middle, we want to be already in a direction, and that's just kind of it's just kind of playing out, like letting the trade continue to move. But I don't really want to be looking for entries in here. Um, so yeah, that's why I tell you like up in this area with our other confirmations based off of my actual strategy of Asia and how we break and fake out of Asia. That's what we try to do, but also taking into account where we're at in the grand scheme of, the range that we're playing within, which is the last highs and lows and basically this leg of price, you know? So yeah. Looking at the last range when we were looking at price here, okay? So we were looking at price here because again, for my strategy, we're looking at this red shaded area, highs and lows, and looking at breaks or fakes from this area. But what happened this day was we look at the last lows down here, okay? All the way up to the high that was up here. Okay, so if we look at the low and the high, if you notice, we're in the middle of this range. And so what happened on that day, you'll see, is that price basically chopped in both directions very aggressively. Down, then up, then down, then up, and then eventually it moved up. But it was a nightmare to trade on this day, which was Wednesday, because we were in the middle of a range and price got very manipulative on both sides. And that's why I'd say like trying to trade in no man's land in the middle of a range is tough. It's not that you can't do it or you shouldn't do it necessarily. It just you have to be at least aware of what you're getting yourself into and trade a certain way when you're in a riskier situation, if that makes sense. So when you just trade towards the highs or towards the lows of a range, you're just able to usually, if you have the bias correctly, get a really solid entry without much manipulation and it goes and it runs your analysis. But sometimes you can have more or less of an idea because I actually ended up calling out a buy from this area, right? And it ended up going for buys later. If you look at it, like it ended up shooting up, but it went and dropped super nasty down here first. Like I called buys here and then price like slammed down and then eventually it ended up recovering and pushing to make new highs. It was just this drop that happened here first that got me out of the position before eventually we ended up running higher. And it wasn't like a small little like, oh, we got wicked out or anything like, nah. I mean, it was definitely a sizable drop. It was over, 4 times the size of my stop loss, right? So like stop loss was here. It ran all the way down here, like thousands of pips. So again, the overall idea of getting higher was there, but when you're trading in the middle of the range and you're using stop losses and things of that nature, you just don't have the luxury to um, be able to play out in the middle of the range without stuff like that happening to you. So yeah, word of advice, regardless of what you're trading, if you can identify the higher time frame highs and lows and where you're at in a range, you want to obviously sell high, buy low, and avoid the middle, you know? So that's really what we're doing to keep it very straightforward and keep things moving. So, again, Sunday, we'll see now what the market does as it opens. I'd expect us maybe to gap up a little bit and then eventually start getting those nice drops down into 22,820, 22,800, more or less. All right, let's check the chat here real quick. Well, the settings for the fib, yeah. So it's 33 and 66. So anytime you have a fib, you always want to have like 0 and 1, obviously, because 0 and 1 is like, the high and the low. And then 33 and 66. So obviously if you put like levels, it'll show a percentage. If you put you can put this and put values, it'll show 3366. To be honest, I don't even really put the percents or the values here at all, just because I don't know, I don't need to see the number. I just need to see 4 lines that I know are gonna measure out upper third, lower third, and middle third. So that's why you need 33, 66, 99, right? That's how you divide it into three. So, yeah, that's basically it. All right. So, yeah, other than that, there's really not much else to talk about. Now it's just executing the trade. All right. So we'll talk about a little bit of the last results that we've had over the past several trades. We'll talk about a little bit of crypto too, and then some questions you guys might have. Um, So again, lately, we've been using this Telegram chat just because Akashx V2 is basically fully, almost, it's basically done, but we have to get Apple and Google Play Store to approve the app. And so that comes with a lot of like technicalities and stuff that our developers have to work around and submit the app for review, and then they gotta approve it, and then they'll send it back for, oh, you're approved, but you need to change this and blah blah blah. So there's always intricacies with dropping apps, by the way. So it's not just like, oh yeah, we're not working on the app. It's like we have to get it approved. So it's a process. But yeah, this was again the last NAS sell that we sent on here. I believe we took a stop loss before that. Yeah, this was the one where we tried trading in the middle of no man's land, basically. This was the one I was referring to here. Now we've had a couple break-even trades as well. This one was really nice though. That was the sells off of this level. So for the most part, you can see like if you understand from an intraday perspective how Asia plays a big role in the development of price, you're gonna pick up on a lot of good setups. Okay, so yeah, for the most part, man, we've been crushing it throughout July. Had a couple break-even trades, a couple stops, but most of the trades have gone 3-1s, 4-1 plus. I think for July right now, technically on my alerts, I'm like 8 wins, 2 losses. So yeah, it's been good. We want to keep that momentum rolling for sure. But yeah, once that's back, the alerts will start to look like this again via the app instead of just like a typed out notification like this on Telegram. But we're creating the solutions in the meantime until we get things going. All right. Bitcoin, a walkthrough of version 2. I mean, yeah, Joel's here. What's up, bro? Appreciate you, dog. Um, we have done already calls on version 2. So obviously for Lauderdale event, they showed it. Josh had already ran a call that you can look at through the My Daily Choice. If you guys look at the My Daily Choice webinar stuff, I think if we look up My Daily Choice, uh, this was the recap. So we did a recap call, just kind of showing that as well. And I believe this is the YouTube link for it. Yep. So this is I'm gonna put the link here so you can see it if you want. Joel with $2. Thank you, bro. Super chat. Thank you, brother. Joel's a savage, bro. Appreciate it, bro. So yeah, guys, this link I just put is Akashx V2 recap call. Obviously, you can skim through it, and if you guys want to like, so they're gonna talk about other products, obviously from MDC, whether it's like our CBD brand partners and just all the other brands within the company, but they do have a huge portion for Akashx on there, so you guys can skip through that or whatever if you want to, and check that out. But I mean, even look, if you go right now, you can log into akashx.com, right? And you can go in here and you'll see your account and everything when you log in. The only thing is, like when you click on trade, so by the way, if you haven't seen this, you're probably gonna be like, what? But you have your tap to trade stuff connected here. You have the active alerts on here, whether it's buys, sells, tap to trades, trade alerts. all in one. With this, if you go on the call and everything, but you can see this yourself right now. The live session section here, academy videos. I definitely contributed a good amount to the pre-recorded content as far as like basics academies and intermediate academies. So you'll see here this video of me walking, everybody through the website and everything. So you can go in and look at it at Akashx right now. You just can't do it on a phone. So if you try to log in through a browser or whatever on the phone for the website, it's not gonna go through until the app is ready. But on a desktop, laptop, iPad, or whatever, you should be able to go in here. Okay. But yeah, pretty much. Lisa, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Would you still recommend entering a sell on NAS after the market opens if it opens bearish? Yeah, look, in general, like I said, I do expect us to continue dropping on NAS. The thing with me is like it's about having a consistent approach as much as possible, right? So personally, I I like to stick to playing off of my strategy, right? Oh, that's crazy. All right. I don't know why that started playing. Um, so yeah, I like sticking to my strategy as much as possible, right? And the reason why I say this is because if the market like opens up, right, and let's say it like gaps up or whatever, and we're like, oh, market's open, I think Rich said it's gonna probably come down all the way to 22,820. So I'm just gonna right away just jump in for a sell. I don't like that approach because the thing is, if the market, opens, right? For what I know, we can have Sunday market kind of like open up, and then it starts to push up and up and up and up, and then it starts taking out this high, and then Asia session forms, right? And then it starts breaking back down, and that's when I would want to take a sell, following the strategy, and then eventually it hits our target. For example, like this is something that can happen, right? So because we didn't wait for Asia to finish forming and we didn't actually stick to the strategy that helped us take this trade in the first place, and you're like, oh, I'm just antsy and I want to make sure I jump into this trade. I'm gonna jump in when the market opens now. And then it actually ends up flying up like 600 pips. You get stopped out. Asia session forms. Then we get the sell signal and you end up taking a stop loss for no reason instead of waiting for the strategy to present itself. Now that scenario might not happen, but it has happened, and it's about trying to create a consistent approach, because if you wouldn't do it every time, it's probably not a good trade. And you might win that one trade, but if you build a habit of taking those type of trades based off of like, okay, let me tell you what I mean. If I'm like, oh, this specific trade, I think we're gonna go down all the way to here. So as soon as the market opens, I'm gonna jump in for a sell, right? It might go and do this whole thing and take you out. It might not. Maybe you jump in and then you actually do end up catching the continuation and it works out now. But then if that trade works out, you might think, oh, I can create a consistent approach like that every Sunday now, where I'm gonna just jump in every Sunday when the market opens if I think it's gonna go down. So I'm not saying not to do it. I'm not saying it's a bad idea because I do think it's gonna go down in general this trade. All I'm saying is like try to like create a reason to enter the market that you can create consistency around. Because if I like create a routine or a consistent way of getting in and out of trades, it just helps me stay much more disciplined and not fall into like chasing the market or being impulsive with setups. If I know exactly what I'm looking for and I let it set up and then I take it and I lose, it's fine because I'm creating a consistent approach that I know over time works really well, as we've seen with the last like 2 years of alerts that I've been calling out. But if I start freestyling stuff because I'm like, oh, I think the market's gonna go down. I feel like I missed this trade on Friday, or I don't know, whatever the reason might be, right? Like, let me just go for it. either you're gonna take an unnecessary loss or you're gonna win and think that you can always get away with doing that. And the next two or three times that you try to chase a trade, it might not work out for you, and then you would have been like, damn, I'm confused now. So I hope I'm explaining myself correctly. I'm not trying to make it a big deal for doing it in this situation in general, but I just want you guys to get in the habit of like not trying to go after a trade that's missed or whatever. Like I let my strategy form and follow the strategy. If I don't do that, then I start opening the door for me to be undisciplined with my approach, and you're gonna lose consistency, I think, if you do that. But it's just my advice personally, so but that's what I would say. Bill with the 10, bro. Damn, thank you, man. I appreciate you. Bill, man, look, Lisa, Bill, all you guys have always been super, super, like always plugged in with me. So I super, super appreciate you guys for sure, man. Always. Super honored that you guys are willing to always hear me out, and hopefully I've contributed to helping you guys make some profits, grow, become better. So much, much, much love, guys. Appreciate you. Oh, I just realized my camera went off too. What the heck? Oh, is that why that YouTube video thing started playing earlier? What? Oh, yo, that is crazy. Hold on. All right. I figured it out. My camera like died on me while I was like doing this, and I guess it switched the mic and everything to my iPhone. And y'all couldn't see my camera because my iPhone was in my pocket, but the audio probably sounded weird for a little bit. Oh, that's crazy. All right. So we've pretty much covered the main stuff, guys. Other than that, um, I really hope you guys did hear everything I was saying too, because I was saying a lot. Crypto. Obviously, you guys probably saw over the week, last couple days, that crypto started, skyrocketing again. We saw Bitcoin hit the, 120s. All right, we topped out at about 123. And that has obviously kind of led into XRP and all of these other coins also catching heat. So XRP for sure is the one that's got everybody very excited. I'm not even gonna lie, I'm kind of low-key sad right now because and I still think this is gonna eventually happen, but I really was waiting on this drop for us to get to that dollar area. For those who follow me, you guys know I've been talking about XRP at a dollar for a while to catch this exact type of move, but yeah, XRP had different plans, kind of stalling out here at around this $2 price point, and we found some support there. So, again, a little bit sad about that for now, just because I mean, for sure now I'm not getting in, but I think there's potential now that we've made some new highs where really XRP can get down into like the 270 area for this fair value gap, and then eventually respecting that and continuing higher. Again, for me, hopefully what this is gonna be like is just having this high put in and then price eventually failing and getting back down to a dollar, and then I can go in. So I'm gonna have to be very patient on re-entries for XRP, but it is what it is. As far as ETH goes, we'll probably see this wave, take out liquidity here at around that 4,150 area to take out these previous highs. So that's probably where we're gonna go next here on ETH very soon. Solana, same type of thing. We'd expect to get back up a little bit over the 200s. So yeah, I was expecting some bigger retracements for sure. My other altcoins that my portfolio has been crying and suffering for a little bit on these two specific coins was Ape coin. I got in at like 150, looking to see if we get the NFT space get a little bit of revitalization and take us back up into these $10 plus price ranges. That was kind of like a play from a long time ago, so I've been in hella drawdown off of that one. And then Filecoin, I got in way too high, honestly. I got super finessed on this one. I got in at like almost $8. So from 8 to like 2, you already know my portfolio like on these two specific coins was like dead. But hey, like honestly with these altcoins like ApeCoin, Filecoin, like the money I put in there, I when I jump in, I consider it gone already. So even if like I lose it completely, like I really don't even bat an eye because of the upside potential return. Like for me, these type of crazy movements that we can see on something like Filecoin is why I'm willing to get in and like risk like a rack or whatever, like $1,000 for example, and like taking that up to here to make freaking you know 10K plus, for example. I want to get like big risk to rewards on the altcoins. So same thing with ApeCoin, like 10x plus, Filecoin 10x plus. Which I'm not saying is gonna do it. Obviously, I've been completely wrong on these so far. But man, the entries now are much different than the entries I got. So anybody that would want to get into something like ApeCoin or Filecoin at these prices, I mean, it's much better than what I got in now, I'll tell you that. Um, so those are the things I've had my eye on as like some little projects there. So yeah, as far as crypto goes, I definitely currently like short term and not really eating off of that right now. My focus has been super heavily involved in just day trading NAS, obviously, but yeah, I just wanted to at least touch base on crypto a little bit because obviously, it's a very hot topic right now, and there is money to be made there for sure. But I always tell people, like, I would say, use the strategies that we teach trading NASDAQ on the daily levels to like be able to take that money and then reinvest it into things like cryptos, over time. I think it's just a good force multiplier of whatever payouts you can get from prop firms and this and that. Like, you want to try to dish that money into things that can multiply over time, like crypto stocks. Some people obviously have a little bit more background in things like real estate or whatever, but as much as we can take day trading money and putting it into other ways to like flip that money, I think is something that people should really consider. All right. Apecoin got nuked yet. Honestly, my Filecoin position was way worse. Freaking ApeCoin just went down like half. Well, at least from my entry. If you're saying in general, yeah, I mean NFTs definitely got wrecked in general for sure. Anybody who held like six figure, seven figure, bored apes and stuff from 2021, my God, you've been in drawdown for 3, 4 years, probably hoping that that turns around one day. So for me, like I don't know, I'm really low in there as far as ApeCoin goes. So whatever. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, as far as everything we wanted to talk about today, to just kind of catch you guys up with everything that's been happening. As far as like my trades, Akashx. So for those that don't know my schedule, I stream through Akashx on Mondays in Spanish at 11 Eastern, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays we do English at 10 a.m. Eastern. And yeah, we'll be looking at live setups if there's any. We'll be recapping prior day, current day, projections, like everything that has to do with NAS, Monday through Thursday, basically. So if you're not a part of Akashx, obviously you guys want to take advantage and get started. We have a really good promo right now, where basically anybody that's getting started, let me see if I'll pull it up for you here. Anybody that's getting started with Akashx right now, that's brand new to the platform though, they're getting a free 10K one phase challenge. So with TradeX, our partners, so let me see if I can pull it up here. Hold on. be much easier to just show you the flyer. Mm, I know it's right here. All right, here we go. Let me share my screen again. All right, so for those that are not in, if you're brand new, if you get started, you get a free 10K one phase challenge. So instead of having to do a prop firm with two phases, it would just be one phase that you have to pass, which is a 5% phase two. And so, yeah, getting started, obviously, you're getting access to live sessions, trade alerts, pre-recorded content, just everything to help you learn trading in general. And then, obviously, you're getting this capital up front on this promo. If you get an annual pack, you're going to have a free 100K one face challenge as well. This is running until tomorrow. So, something to definitely take advantage of if you guys have been looking to get started. I had a couple people get started today and last night. So definitely worth it for people that want to take advantage of capital and everything up front. And if you guys are in Akashx and didn't know about that, this is the time to help your friends, family, co-workers, social media, whatever, like get plugged in because passing one phase at 5% is much different than passing two different phases for a combined 15%. So something to think about. All right. But yeah, man. Oh, Brent, you know it's funny. I was talking to Brent 2 days ago. We were playing Call of Duty together. So Brent for sure is my guy. Uh, definitely miss him for sure. But look, man, life will take you separate and then back together again very quickly. You'll be surprised. So we'll see what's up. But everything happens for a reason. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it, guys. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up this live. I hope you guys got some insight that prepares you for the week. We are already wrapping up July, which is crazy. And yeah, just grateful, man. We got a lot of don't you get Zeus with the annual? You might honestly like I haven't really been too tapped in with exactly with what's going on with Zeus. Armin is really like the one kind of like spearheading that movement for Akashx. So when we get more like clear updates, I'll know, but I don't know what's up with Zeus right now, honestly. Other than that, guys, though, we have a lot of events coming up too, though. We have September. We have Tulum coming up very soon. If you are part of the Tulum team, that's going out there. We got Rome in September. We got Atlanta in October. So those are the next three major events that we want to, actually four major events that we want to get out to if we can. So I'll see you guys there. But yeah, with that said, hope you guys have an amazing rest of your Sunday. See you guys tapped in on Akashx if you guys are there. And if not, we'll see y'all next week for Sunday Market Outlook. All right. Appreciate y'all. Have an amazing day. To all you guys that donated a bit to the YouTube, Lisa, Bill, Joel, appreciate you guys so